Hey everyone, and welcome. Today, we're unpacking something that is absolutely fundamentally changing our relationship with AI assistants. We've spent the last couple of years chatting with AI, right? Asking it to write an email or maybe generate a quick code snippet. But what if your AI didn't just talk to you? What if it literally pulled up a chair, sat down at a computer, and just did the work for you? Well, today's explainer is all about Grok Bot, which is an AI that acts like a true, fully fledged digital colleague. Okay, let's dive into this and lay out our roadmap. We're going to start by looking at the productivity trap. Then we'll move into agents with the computer, break down exactly how Grokbot works, explore real work in the real world, and finally, we'll wrap up by discussing the trust era. All right, so section 1, the productivity trap, moving from configuring to doing.
Now, if you're the kind of person who loves finding new tools to optimize your workflow, this observation from Matt Palmer is really going to hit home. It captures a shared pain point perfectly. He points out that all these endless optimizations and custom setups, they actually distract us from the real magic, which is just doing the work. Because up to this point, personal AI agents have required so much debugging, wrangling API keys, and honestly, just constant babysitting that they haven't felt very magical at all. You just end up managing the AI instead of the AI managing your tasks.
It's a pretty stark contrast when you think about it. On one hand, we've got the exhausting reality of traditional AI setups. You're provisioning servers, figuring out complex service accounts, and debugging deployments that flake out on you. It's a headache. But what we actually want? We just want an agent that handles the tedious, manual stuff on our computer, exactly how a human would do it, but without all those massive security and engineering hurdles. That brings us right into section 2, agents with a computer. This is the big paradigm shift in personal AI. So based on the source material, GrokBot is defined as an AI teammate that you can give real work to. It signs into your tools, uses them just like you do, and comes back with finished work. And this brilliantly illustrates the core innovation here. That phrase, just like you do. It doesn't need some special, complex API to do its job. It literally clicks buttons, it reads the screen, and it navigates web pages exactly like you or I would. So how exactly does it pull this off? Well, every Grokbot actually gets its own computer. Technically speaking, it's running on a persistent Linux virtual machine up in the cloud. But practically, actually, scratch that, it feels much more like a hyper-fast, always-on remote desktop. Since it lives in the cloud, it's working 24/7. You can literally slam your laptop shut, go to sleep, and it's still going. It's navigating web pages, accessing files, and, this is absolutely huge, it securely shares your login sessions until they naturally expire. Okay, moving to section 3. Let's look under the hood at how Grokbot works, specifically focusing on handoffs and memory layers. Historically, getting stuck at a login screen has been the absolute death of AI automation. But Grokbot solves this with something called an authentication handoff, and it's amazingly simple. Let's say the bot hits a wall it can't clear. Maybe it's a two-factor authentication prompt, a CAPTCHA, or a credit card screen. Instead of crashing, it just pauses and hands the computer back to you. You grab your phone, type in the 2FA code, clear the hurdle, and just hand the keys right back to the bot so it can keep going. It's such an elegant solution to a really frustrating problem. Now, to make sure it doesn't feel like you're working with a goldfish that resets its memory every 5 minutes, Grokbot relies on 3 distinct layers of memory. First up is user memory. This means it inherently knows things like your time zone and your personal preferences. Next is agent memory, which is basically the specific log of your history with that one individual bot. And third is project memory. This is where it gets kind of wild. Multiple bots can actually share decisions and conventions while working on a single task. It makes the whole AI experience feel incredibly snappy, and they collaborate like actual human partners. Oh, and if you don't feel like typing out a huge explanation for a complex task, you don't have to. You can just hit record, do the workflow on your screen one time, and Grokbot just watches you. It learns the steps and then saves it as a routine to run completely on its own next time. You show it once, it learns the whole shebang. Let's jump into section 4, real work, real world. Time to look at enterprise applications and collaboration. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is the sheer scale of work that can happen literally while you're sleeping. You can spin up a whole virtual team. Imagine a sales outbound bot spending the night researching 50 different accounts and drafting emails that sound exactly like you. Or a talent scout bot sourcing candidates and cross-referencing them against your ATS. You could have a paid media bot analyzing your live ad data, while an expense manager bot is quietly rounding up all your receipts. The idea is you wake up, grab your morning coffee, and just review this massive pipeline of finished work that's sitting there waiting for your approval. And the best part? These bots don't work in isolation. If you drop a few of them into the same thread, they actively pass work back and forth. It's so cool. You can sit back and watch them chat, saying things like asking research or looping in comms or sending to chief. They just collaborate autonomously. You don't have to jump in constantly to keep the project moving forward. So the big question, what does a persistent, always-on AI workforce actually cost? Well, the entry point for the Cursor Ultra tier is about $200 a month. That really grounds this whole technology in reality, right? For roughly the cost of a monthly utility bill, you're essentially getting a dedicated virtual assistant with its very own machine. To break that down a bit more, for individuals or solo power users, that $200 a month gets you the bot's own computer, all your scheduled routines, and extended AI tokens. But if we're talking enterprise, they have a premium Teams tier at $120 per seat per month. That brings in the heavy-duty stuff: centralized billing, shared analytics, and enterprise-grade single sign-on. Also, a quick side note, if you're already on the Super Grok Heavy plan, Grok Bot is actually already included for you. All right, finally, Section 5, the trust era. We really need to talk about what it means to trust AI with your digital life. Because look, we have to acknowledge the elephant in the room here. Letting an AI actively navigate your Amazon account, or your Salesforce, or your bank account, that requires a massive leap of faith. In the past, if you wanted to set up safety rules to prevent a disaster, you had to hard code them in complex JSON files. But Grok Bot completely flips the script by letting you write your boundaries in plain, natural language. You just tell it, hey, never touch my ad spend without asking me first. And under the hood, there's a completely separate, isolated reviewer agent. Before your main bot can even click a button, this reviewer agent double-checks the action against your rules. If it sees a violation, the action gets blocked or escalated straight back to you. But once you establish that trust, the everyday applications are just incredible. Matt Palmer actually shared some of the personal bots he uses. He's got a demo bot that browses X for new tech and automatically builds working code prototypes in like 15 minutes. But it's not all heavy engineering. He also has a grocery agent that compares prices between Instacart and Amazon, and a DoorDash agent that watches his company Slack for group orders, navigates those terribly complex takeout menus, and just adds his food automatically. I mean, imagine never having to wrangle the Friday office lunch order ever again. By eliminating those tedious user interfaces, your digital life just vastly improves.
It really brings to mind a quote from Elon Musk: "Everything is computer." So the crucial point is that Grok Bot actually fulfills this exact philosophy. It bridges the gap between what you want to achieve and the clunky digital interfaces you usually have to fight with to get it. It essentially turns everything on your computer into something you can instantly access, simply by asking for it in plain English.
Which leaves us with this final thought. We are stepping into an era where the everyday friction of digital work is just disappearing. The bots are ready, the cloud computers are running. So in a world where an AI can seamlessly navigate user interfaces for you, how much of your daily digital life are you truly ready to hand over to a machine? Something to think about. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and we will catch you next time.